Yo, how's it going, YouTube family? Welcome to another video. This one we're starting with a meme. So in this one, I'm gonna talk to you about the 7 metrics that actually scale ecom brands, and it's not gonna be ROAS. So I'm gonna give you my opinion about ROAS in just a second, but basically this meme represents pretty good that if you just focus on the ROAS, you're gonna lose touch with the revenue, and after 6 months, you could lose your business. So ROAS is not the North Star. That's just the beginning of the video. Let's establish that. ROAS is not the guiding North Star. So, things that happen if you just focus on ROAS, and now I will reveal to you the 7 metrics, and I'm gonna cover the formula, the definition, everything, so you have it extremely clear. So trying to maximize the ROAS leads to low ad spend and no growth. First things first, the ROAS can be temporarily inflated. If you send an email, the ROAS will go up on Facebook. If you're doing a lot of retargeting and very little prospecting, the ROAS will go up. But ROAS is a metric that ignores profitability, punishes growth, because if you try to grow, usually the ROAS will go down, but you have to find other ways to compensate for that and keep on growing. And ROAS is not going to consider the LTV. So there are many metrics that we have to take into account to generate growth, which is what I'm going to reveal in this video. So what metrics are the North Star? So these ones are it. MER, NCAC, customer LTV, returning customer rate, contribution margin, and then the most important ones when it comes to specifically scaling, website metrics when it comes to conversion, AOV conversion rate, and then traffic metrics when it comes to scaling Facebook ads, CTR, CPM, okay? Those make the CPC, and the AOV and conversion rate will make the revenue per visit. What I'm gonna give you in the video, so everything is extremely tangible and you can implement it right away, make a Google sheet and track them every single week, I would say, is the definition, the formula, why it's important, and then a tip, like something to make it more useful, something that you can do right away to implement it, etc. Cool, let's get into it. Why am I qualified to talk about this? I've been spending money on Facebook ads since 2016, 2017. Spent well over, at this point, 25 million in the platform for my clients. This is May and June for the accounts that I manage myself, plus one consulting client where I'm super involved with the team. 600K ad spend, 3.88 ROAS, and 2.4 million revenue. Spoke at Affiliate World and a bunch of big events in Dubai, in Europe. So just talking about Facebook ads. So let's do it. Let's start with the first one. MER, and that's gonna be the structure. It's not gonna be funny, it's not gonna be crazy dopamine, it's just gonna be literally, this is the metric, definition, and formula. But it's gonna be super useful, I promise that. So, marketing efficiency ratio. This basically is how efficient is every dollar that I spend on marketing. So you wanna include everything in there, it's up to you if you wanna include influencer marketing and stuff like this. In general, it would be the total revenue on Shopify divided by the total ad spend on marketing. If you're doing Facebook and Google, you include both. Why is this important? It's gonna give you a high level general view of how your brand converts marketing spend into revenue. That's it. It's the general overview of how well we're doing when it comes to marketing. That's it. It goes beyond a specific platform ROAS, and with this, you remove the attribution, over attribution, under attribution. One platform is stealing from the other one. This is a general metric, works super good. Track it every 7 days. Like you look at it weekly to have the tracking on a Google Sheet. I would recommend Google Sheet. And then just when you're optimizing, you look at it every 3 to 5 days. I would not look, if today is 5 p.m., let's say it's 12 p.m. or it's 1 p.m. or it's 10 a.m. I don't look at the MER on the same day. I think it's stupid. So that's that. Controlling and on a daily basis, don't look at it. There's gonna be inconsistencies. It's by 2 p.m. it's a little bit lower than the last day, whatever. Just don't do it. That's MER as a foundational one. New customer acquisition cost, very similar to the previous one. This would be the cost to acquire a completely new customer. Formula there, new customer ad spend divided by number of new customers acquired. A bit complex, what some people do, and what I would say it's just easier. It's total marketing spend divided by total new customers. It's not gonna be fair, so it's a bit complex to explain, but basically it's unfair because with total spend, you also do a lot of retargeting. So it's positive and necessary. You have to do retargeting, but it's going to inflate the new customer acquisition cost. So if you have triple whale, something like this, they give it to you by default. If not, you would have, this is not easy to track. If you can do it, it's new customer ad spend divided by number of new customers acquired. But what do? Do you trust the Facebook, how they categorize the ad spend that goes into people that are not your existing customers? You could do that, and you can calculate the new customer acquisition cost from Facebook. That would be a good one, actually. So that's the formula. I leave it to you. Why is it important? It shows the true cost to grow. So basically, a blended CAC is not going to give you any accurate information, because it's going to include retargeting, it's going to include pretty much everything. And to properly scale, you will require a solid number when it comes to new customer acquisition cost. And then the pro tip, exclude retargeting, exclude brand search when you're calculating all of this. Only cold prospecting. So this with Facebook audience breakdown, you should be able to do this. Otherwise, you can have prospecting campaigns and retargeting campaigns as it used to be in the past. Nowadays, they are a little bit mixed, so it's not as easy to calculate. But basically, when you play with this on a week-to-week basis, you can see when it's getting worse, because you compare week versus week. If you try to compare these across different brands, it's not going to be good. So basically, compare it just to yourself and see the evolution of the metric. Customer lifetime value, number 3. You'll see I'm going bam, so you have everything clear. Definition, so basically total revenue that you expect to earn from just one customer throughout the entire relationship with the brand. So how much these people will spend with you after 1 year, after 5 years. It's like, it is always an expectation, because maybe after 20 years, if you're gonna have a brand for 20 years, people will buy in year 1 and year 20, but you cannot consider that. So usually the formula, the generic one, is AOV, how much every person spends on average, multiplied by the purchasing frequency, and then how long this customer lifespan is gonna be in months or years. So I put a few examples here to make it easier for you. And in the next metrics, we have some images, so it's gonna be a bit more entertaining. But I hope you're following till now. It's a pretty easy video. So let's say $50, okay, is the AOV, times 1, because they buy 1 time per year, times 2 years. So in the span of 2 years, and that's when the customer stops buying, because they have your products and they don't care anymore. They buy 1 time per year, so that's 2 sales at $50. That means that it's gonna be customer lifetime value is gonna be $100 in this case. Nice. But what if my AOV is very low, so a subscription here, so they pay $19 and they buy 1 time per month and they stay subscribed for 0.8 years. So it's not a full year. That's gonna be a 30, is this correct? No, this is not even correct. Let me see, this cannot be that. This is correct. Let's make a pause to the video to recalculate this. Okay, we're back on the video. So this will be 182 from a subscription business. Then in the other case, this would be a high ticket brand where you only buy 1 time. Imagine you're selling coffee machines that I just bought one today, and or you're selling, I don't know, some special fashion. So 135 AOV, people buy 1 time every 2 years. So per year it would be 0.5. And then they are a customer for the next 4 years. So in this case, it will be 270. But you are gonna be worse off when it comes to cash flow, because you have to wait for 4 years for that customer lifetime value to be realized. So this would take either venture capital or, you know, a lot of praying to God if you have to make a big money investment or something like that. Now, if you simplify the formula, which I would like to do, this is it, okay? So AOV times number of orders per customer, which can also be an average. But this depends on how detailed you want to be with things. If you want to have something like an approximation to understand how things are going, just do AOB, average order value, number times the average number of orders per customer. So if that's going to be 1.3, and you take a lifespan of 2 years, if you have enough data, you just multiply those two numbers, and that's it. AOB 50 times 1.3, whatever the number, and you got it. Okay. Why is this important? It just tells you how much a customer is really worth to you. It's not the product price, it's not the AOB, because they will buy again in the future. And this will contribute to the CPA. How much are you willing to pay, or how much can you afford? This is the key word. How much can you afford to buy, to acquire a customer? So in this case, you see it here. If your new customer acquisition cost is 50 euros, you say, wow, that's a lot. But then the LTV is going to be 500. I'm in a great position to scale, even if my first order ROAS looks weak. So you see now how you have to start playing with these metrics. This is chess, it's pure chess. So, okay, new customer acquisition cost, it's pretty high, but then this thing is also pretty high. So then I can take a risk. How much risk can I take? Cash flow calculations, but it's positive there, okay? Pro tip to increase the customer lifetime value, increase repeat purchase rate. So post-purchase email flow, typical thing. Facebook ads retargeting, a lot of those. But then flash campaigns. This is the easiest one that I've seen to make people buy again. Because you either have in here like events that are gonna be Black Friday, Christmas, Mother's Day, anything, Valentine's. And you also are gonna have down the line, so at some point in the lifespan of your brand, you're gonna have product launches. So this is an easy one for fashion brands. When you switch into the new season, it's fall winter 25, spring summer 25, people will buy again if they were happy with the product. Or as you see me here, actually highly recommend this new Red Bull. I like what these guys are doing. Tastes good, gives me a good result, helps me make these videos for you guys. And whenever they launch a new product, I quickly adopt that. But if they would have the same product always, I would not be a loyal customer, or my lifetime value would be shit. But because they keep on releasing new flavors, first of all, just out of curiosity, I buy. And then if they're good and they're fresh, summer from the fridge, phenomenal. So product launches is good, events is good for flash campaigns, but also do a lot of retargeting. There's a specific strategy that I have for retention, is what we call it in the accounts that I manage. We basically target our customers, not super direct to buy again, but more to create trust and to create, like, be top of mind with them. And they eventually buy again because they have multiple impacts from following us on Instagram, from the emails, etc. Another way to increase customer lifetime value, upsells and cross-sells, bundles frequently bought together. So basically before they buy, you try to inflate the AOB. And because we said the formula is AOB multiplied by number of orders, you either increase the number of times they buy or you increase the AOB. And in general, this will increase the customer lifetime value. And then the last one, improved product experience and support. This is the boring tip, but this is the real one. So faster shipping, better shipping conditions, better packaging, customer service that is phenomenal, that is amazing, that gives a super good feeling, trust, satisfaction. Basically, having happy customers is the best long-term investment. And that's that one. Let's go into returning customer rate, similar to the previous one. So returning customer rate is just a percentage, and it tells you the percentage of customers that bought in a specific time period that made more than one purchase, like they bought before from a specific period of time. So just to give you an example, this is from a client. Depends on the niche and depends on the AOB, and depends if you have subscription. 24.07% will be amazing or it will be shit. It depends on the business model. In this case, we're very happy. 25% is phenomenal. So basically this means that if we had, this is July 1st to July 17th. If we had 1,000 orders, it just means that 240 are from repeat customers. Okay? So for a specific time period, all of the time. Now, it basically tells you how many of my orders are coming from not new customers. So that's that. In terms of the formula, number of returning customers divided by total customers times 100. So you've got it right there. If you want to have the percentage, you do that. But basically, 1,000 orders total, 240 from repeat customers, make the formula, and you've got it, okay? I would recommend you track this every single week, and you see that when you do an event, when you do a flash campaign, when you do a product launch, is this number going up? No. Then I have to improve this. Or is this number 10%? Then I'm screwed. I need to do this a little bit more because I'm relying too much on acquisition of new customers that I'm not doing a good job in the back end. So 10% I would consider it to be pretty bad unless you are at a moment that you're scaling like crazy. I would say it's not too good. Why is this important? It means the product, the experience, like people want to buy again. It's the best signal. So, and it's cheaper to sell again. It's basically free if you're selling through email or organic, or they just voluntarily buy again directly. That's a free purchase. And if you have to acquire a completely new customer, that's going to be expensive. So more profit, more customer lifetime value. So it's a metric that you want to increase. Pro tip, break down your returning customer rate by product or by cohort. Basically play with the metrics to spot things, to spot opportunities. Okay. Now look at this. So we've got this one, 20%. This one is for a higher ticket product. And this is last year. So I already see something. The 2 months where it's at 25% and almost 30%. Interesting. Okay. Then at the same time, is it a metric that you want to maximize? You just want to have a balance of new acquisition and returning. You don't want to have 90% returning because that means you don't know how to acquire new customers. So it's a fine balance. Anyways, on Shopify, on this thing right here in dimensions, you can customize the table below. So in the table below, what I see here, this is, I did by product ID. So if you do dimensions by product ID, it will basically tell you the metric, returning customer rate per product. So it's like which product is generating more repeat customers. And then I see if I order by returning customers and then the rate, which depends on total customers, you would see that product number 1 has, let's delete this. How do I delete this? Annoying right there. Okay. The one with the most returning customers, the returning customer rate is 16. Because let's say we did a lot of new acquisition. And then I spot some opportunities at 30%, 49. I'm like, oh, what is this? 28, 35. So that's worth analysis. I have to study those products. What are we doing through email? Are we doing a lot of retargeting that we have this crazy returning customer rate? I don't know. So this is an analysis worth doing for every single ecom brand just to see what are the products producing most repeat customers. Because think about it, if there's one product that gives me 49% repeat customers, so therefore this has a much higher customer lifetime value, is it worth it that I do more acquisition of this product at a ROAS of 1 that will give me a 50% customer repeat rate? That's phenomenal. So, I mean, sometimes when I see people going at ROAS 1, I'm surprised because with the accounts that I manage, they basically force me to have a ROAS above 3, above 4, above 5. So it's high pressure. But then I see some brands, ROAS 0.9, and they're like, yeah, we can afford it. When they say we can afford it, it's this thing. They see the one product and they're like, okay, we have this repeat customer rate after they buy, they will buy again in whenever time. So with high lifetime value, they can afford to go at ROAS 1 and they don't care. So this is the thing. When you see that, it's because of this. What else? Contribution margin. Okay, we're getting into accounting here. So definition, the profit left after subtracting all variable costs. Okay, so product cost, shipping, transaction, fulfillment, everything right there, okay? From your selling price. And it's before the fixed costs, salaries, rent, ad spend, whatever. Ad spend, it's not necessarily fixed, but you have different contribution margins. We're gonna see now. So formula, revenue minus variable costs divided by revenue times 100. Or simply selling price minus variable divided by selling times 100. In this case, or just do the total. Like you would, this is giving you the ratio. I would just do revenue minus variable costs, and you have a simple number. And now I'll give you the CM1, 2, and 3, which is more important. Now, why is this important? It tells you how much actual profit you make per sale before the fixed costs. If that thing is fixed and you're like, man, if I make 50K profit, I cover all of my expenses, and after that, everything's profit. This type of thinking comes from contribution margin. So, strong contribution margin, you have more room to spend on customer acquisition where you secure a profit. So, how much can I pay for a customer? This will help you have that. And now, 2 things. Calculate the contribution margin per platform. Some platform, like you have to be aware of who's bringing the profit and who's bringing the growth. So sometimes you will see it there. For example, Amazon might be bringing growth and brand awareness, but it's not profitable. And then different things with, I don't know, email or Shopify or whatever. And even on the product, there are products that have really bad margins, but those are bringing a lot of volume. These type of things, you have to go deeper. And now the perfect tip, CM1, CM2, CM3. So this is, it's like a cascade. Each one is going to include more costs. This is an example. You can do whatever you want in there. So CM1 could be revenue minus COGS. CM2, revenue minus COGS minus fulfillment, shipping, and transaction fees. And then CM3 could be revenue minus COGS, fulfillment, shipping, transaction fees, and marketing spend. So let's say, like in this case, you include all of these. Some people put this thing in COGS. I would say it's stupid. But basically, revenue, COGS, and then you include the marketing spend. So the CM3 would be more accurate, profit. I think revenue minus COGS is good as well, but you would do different decisions. You would make different decisions looking at CM1, which only considers COGS, and then looking at CM3, which considers a lot of costs, right? So that's contribution margin. Let's go almost the last one, AOV and conversion rate. So these are basically how well my website is converting users into customers, into orders. Okay, so the AOV is telling me how much each customer spends on average. Conversion rate tells me how many visitors, like people that come to the website, end up buying. It's just a percentage. Combined, they define your revenue per visitor, which is a nice metric to summarize these 2 metrics at the same time. Formulas, AOV, revenue divided by orders, conversion rate, orders by sessions times 100. That's it. Combined, you get the revenue per visitor. So AOV times conversion rate, and you get it. If the AOV is 150 and conversion rate is pretty low, then my revenue per visit is 0.68. Now, if we have a very high conversion rate, 3.75, perfect. But then the AOV is quite on the low. In this case, the revenue per visit is 101. And then if it's AOV 68, which is solid, and conversion rate is 2.78, which is solid, depending on the ad spend, revenue per visit is 1.8. So this is phenomenal. Okay, different cases. What is a good revenue per visit? You might be thinking, it depends on your CPC. So here's a golden rule. When it comes to e-commerce and scaling, golden rule, revenue per visit always has to be higher than CPC. Common sense, yes, but it's a golden rule. So basically, what I make per user that comes into the website has to be higher than how much it costs me to get a user on my website. Why is this important? Media buying scales when the site monetizes well. Basic, high AOV means you can afford to pay more to acquire a customer. High conversion rate means you need less traffic to make the same amount of sales. So push them to the limit. And they determine Facebook profitability. Now, pro tip. So AOV, how to boost it? Many things here. There are many videos out there. But basically, bundles, frequently bought together, suggestions, etc. after they buy through email or through the confirmation page. Put an upsell over there, and then the free shipping threshold that they're gonna unlock that, or a free gift if they spend a little bit more. For conversion rate, site loading speed is important. More social proof, because at the end of the day, conversion rate is based off of trust and familiarity and all of this. And if you can shorten the checkout steps, that's cool, but not too much of a fan, it's okay. And always track the RPV, like revenue per visit. AOV times conversion rate. This will make, when you have a problem with the ROAS, you have to go look at the revenue per visit first. And then look at the CPC. So, last one, click-through rate and CPM. They go together for me. So, definition, CTR and CPM, they tell you how effective and efficient your ads are at capturing attention and getting traffic. Not only attention, traffic. So CPM, how much you're paying to get 1,000 impressions. CTR, out of those 1,000 impressions, how many do they click on the link? That's it. So together they make the CPC. But the CPC in itself tells you nothing. If you tell me my CPC went up, I will ask you what happened to the CTR and the CPM. Because the CPC in itself, it's like a mirror, but it tells me nothing. It's like ROAS. I have to break it down to understand what is happening. So, yeah. Now that we're talking about the CPC, remember revenue per visit minus CPC is going to tell you the profit. So, formulas, CTR, clicks by impressions times 1,000, CPM, ad spend by impressions times 1,000. This is 100. Combined. So, I'll give you a few examples here. Let's look at this. So, the examples, this is just for you to understand how the CPM will condition, or the CTR will condition the, the CPC. So if my CPM, look at the formula above and down below. If my CPM is $20 and I have a 2%, but don't put the percentage, just put the 2, okay? 2 times 10, then I'm paying $1 CPC. If my CPM goes up to 50, with the same CTR, I'm gonna pay 2.5 in CPC. And then if my CPM goes up to 122, then with the same CTR, I'm gonna pay $6. So here we're like, okay, if my revenue per visit remains the same, but my CPM goes up, then my CPC will go up. And this formula of revenue per visit minus CPC will be worse. Why? Because the revenue per visit stays the same, but my CPC is higher. Why is it higher? Because my CPM went up. Why did it go up? And that's where you have to work on, okay? But you have to go into the depths of the metrics to be able to fix things like ROAS and scalability and unlock new levels. Why is this important? It's basically how efficient are you at buying traffic. Low CTR with high CPM. What is this? I'm paying a lot to show my ads, but I'm not getting clicks. Low CTR, like, this is the worst position to be in. It's when you run ads in the US and your creatives look like shit, this is the case you're gonna have. High CTR with low CPM, this case does not exist. No, just kidding, but it's not usually the case. Highly efficient media buying, really good creatives, cheap traffic. Usually it's high CPM, high CTR, or low CPM, low CTR. If you go into the US, it's gonna be high CPM, high CTR. And if you go to Portugal, Spain, Italy, countries like this, you're gonna have low CPM and low CTR. That's it. But at the end of the day, everything is all about revenue per visit minus CPC. If you tell me my CPC is $3, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's high, but I don't know if it's profitable. And I care about profitable. I don't care about high or low or whatever. And if your CPC is too high, it's gonna be a CTR or a CPM problem. It's not about conversion rate or not about AOV. They are correlated, but it's not about that. Last one, pro tip on this. Fastest way to increase CPM is going to decrease. Decrease. CPM is going broad, is making much better at creatives that Facebook rewards, and is manual overbidding. And then the fastest way to increase CTR, improve the hook if you're running video, make more of the winning images that produce a good CTR, make more native or organic formats, as I explained in a previous video that you can watch. I think it was last week or last 2 weeks. And then the most important one for the CTR, it's this. Meet them where they are. Understand your customer, do your research, make relevant messaging, and then meet them where they already are. That's it. So MER, new customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, returning customer rate, contribution margin, and then website conversion and traffic metrics. So make sure you track them. If you were tracking some of them already, you can include the other ones. And that is it from my side. If you need further help when it comes to coaching, scaling, being part of a group of media buyers, of 7-figure brands, stuff like this, go check the Metascaling Accelerator. Link is in the bio. We have a bunch of cool things inside. So that's the backend with the videos, which is basically my brain into videos. That's what we have in there: fundamentals, things, account structure, testing, etc. More advanced media buying with intraday scaling, manual bidding, scaling strategies, everything summarized there. So if you're at a point where you wanna, basically what we see in the group calls that we have, or in the one-on-ones that I do with the members, it's questions like, what do you look at when ROAS drops all of a sudden? Or my CPM doubled in the last 30 days, what should I do? This is a question that I find in the group calls, and people usually ask to everybody. So let's say we are 15 people in the Zoom call that specific week, and then it's like, hey guys, I'm advertising in the US and in Germany, and my CPM doubled. Has it ever happened to you? So you get the support of a lot of people plus myself. Feels good to be there, and it's quite productive. So, and then stuff like planning for the August low, planning for the start of September, and right after that, we're gonna do something that I love, that I do every single year, Black Friday Mastermind. I'll bring coaches. I'm gonna be coaching myself, and it's basically a training to scale to the limit. We have a bunch of crazy case studies overall in the program. This is a very close friend of mine, 600K in a couple of months in the summer, a year ago, I think. So good stuff. Anyways, check it out, link in the description. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Best of lucks. Bye-bye.